Everybody, Jason Burmis here with the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, again, the Fitch Smash, John Fitch. John, how are you today?
I'm good. Feeling good.
Yeah, I'm
Life is
feeling good
good.
too. Ever since I'm getting this fresh Iowa air, I don't have to wear a mask to get a coffee in the morning. It
Wow.
feels nice. It feels
I
nice.
heard that California will soon, gyms, I think we're going to get to start opening or something.
Get the F
Something.
out of here, Jims.
I heard a rumor. Rumor was
Sounds pretty
scuttlebutt.
rumor-esque.
There was a little bit of scuttlebutt about.
I
But
mean, I don't even
I
know
don't
what to
know.
say. My big thing before
I
leaving was the
haven't I
fact that
haven't
they were.
checked in a while, like what's going on. So
Oh, you haven't been newsing? Why? What were you up to this week?
no, like I didn't. I haven't checked like with AKA or any of the gyms
Oh,
or
I gotcha.
anything.
Yeah, I mean,
And
are
I
you
got a seminar in South Carolina coming up.
are you flying to
End
that?
of the month, so 24th.
Okay, so you must be flying to that. You're not going to drive from California. Yeah,
Yeah, flying.
yeah. I don't know, man. The world just seems wackier and wackier every day. Like I just watched a little piece of like the Trump rally thing, and there's literally thousands of people, right next to each other, walking through, no masks. The media is demonizing them everywhere. It's super annoying. They're making up numbers that somehow it's people's without mask fault. Even though have you seen that new CDC study?
Mm-mm.
So let's do it live here, John.
None of them are ever good.
Oh, you're gonna love this one.
I've been focusing on my dog because everything is awful.
Yeah, I saw you did the dog. John Fitch knows nothing. I need to watch that one.
Yeah.
Tell us about your dog as I look this up.
He's a big puppy. He's 17 weeks now. He's about 50 pounds, and he's so big you forget that he is just a puppy and he does puppy stuff. So he's keeping me on my toes because he can do a lot of damage fast.
Man, it's hard to find this already. But basically, there is a new study out by the
Airing
CDC
it.
saying those that contracted coronavirus, John,
Mm-hmm.
70.2% of them were not wearing masks. Of course, if you type the headline in, you can't find it. Why would you? You know what? Let's try something else. Let's try Yahoo.com. Bet you is the first thing that comes up. Let's see. 70% of coronavirus not wearing masks, CDC. Let's see what we get. Yeah, look at that. How weird is that? Huh. Well, like, how weird is that
Doesn't show up on Google.
won't
but
show up on Google, but the first
still showing up on what is this, Yahoo?
yeah, shows up right at Yahoo first thing. I mean,
Wow.
it's ridiculous. And did you see the WHO guy flipping around? I'm just going to go to my Facebook because I know I have a
So what
bunch.
does that mean? So 70% of people who got it were not wearing masks.
No, we're wearing masks. They say that they're mask wearers.
Okay, so the mask did very little.
Well, that's not what people that want lockdowns say, John. You know what they
Okay,
say?
yeah.
They say that
Mask
those people
wear.
are liars.
Might as well just do it.
They're like, those people aren't telling the truth. So now if you caught COVID and you told the doctor...
You know, I once had a conversation with somebody about religion, and at the end of the argument, they didn't have anything left to say. So he says, "Well, at the end of the day, it's better, to believe and be wrong than not, or whatever." And you get the same type of pushback from people with the mask.
Yeah, it's a religion, right?
It's religious type. It feels like, yeah, it's very throws me back to that conversation.
Well, like Fauci was on here it is right here. So let's look up the actual full headline when we bring it up here. And then we'll do all the spiel, everybody. But let's go to this right here. So straight from the CDC, 70.2% of those who get COVID always wear a mask. Those who never wore one are 3.9%. So people that said they never wore one, that was less than 4% of the cases. And this is on page 4 of this cdc.gov site, straight from the site. Okay? And anybody can download it. There's the hyperlink. Freeze frame it if you need to Google it because it is hard to find. But this was the response by somebody who's brainwashed. Let me read this. Because you can trust the answers people give a survey that drives this data. What the fuck are you
well, that's one of the problems. We live in a world where everybody will be quick to discount any amount of information you give on anything. You know, it's just people already have in their head what they want to believe, and they're gonna find things that fit what fits.
So I despise
weird professors.
the WHO. Despise it. The World Health Organization is shit. Fuck them. Fuck you, WHO. I want out of the UN. You're not my masters. I never voted for you. You can really go fuck right off. Now, this guy, who is an actual UN spokesperson, works for the agency, now says that they are not effective and the economies need to reopen. And again, they spin it and say, oh, well, you know, he says now, but in the beginning, I'm like, well, why aren't we doing it now? Let's play this too, John, because again,
because now he's crazy. Then he was
a week ago it was fine.
Sunetra Gupta from Oxford University on, and she was implying, and I'm interested in you because you have a global mandate, a global view, was that a problem we don't think about in lockdowns is that they're very nationalistic. That if we lock down our economy, then it hits our economy. But it also means we are not buying stuff. We're not trading with weaker economies. We are not just destroying our own jobs. We're destroying the jobs of all those that in the poorer parts of the world that export to us. That seemed to me to be a reasonable point.
Really important point by Professor Gupta.
Design,
I want to say it again.
By design.
We in the World Health Organization do not advocate lockdowns as a primary means of control of this virus. The only time we believe a lockdown is justified is to buy you time to reorganize, regroup, rebalance your...
So let's just talk about that really quick. I don't think there's any time to justify it, especially the way it's been handled now. It's proven that they handled it wrong, okay? But now he's saying only to regroup, reorganize, and rebalance your resources. Well, guess what? We got all the fucking resources in the world. The president beat it in 2 days. Everybody, it's common knowledge what we were talking about in March, John. Vitamin D, vitamin C, steroids. Now you can add fucking remdesivir to that. Zinc, Zithromax. In all in the same breath, Andrew Capo Cuomo, who just loves his lockdowns, says that yes, remdesivir works, but then HCQ, hydroxychloroquine, doesn't work. Well, he's a fucking liar, and he's a piece of shit. I'm sorry I'm getting a little emotional here, but it's just ridiculous. Let's close it out. This guy, again, is saying...
Squats and deadlifts will help, too, because they'll get your T higher.
Listen, John, I'm getting my car on Wednesday. It's happening. I got a big backyard. There's, again, no excuses, just results. I'm actually setting up my outdoor gym.
Your resources, protect your health workers who are exhausted. But by and large, we'd rather not do it. Just look at what's happened to the tourism industry, for example, in the Caribbean or in the Pacific, because people aren't taking their holidays. Look what's happened to smallholder farmers all over the world because their markets have got dented. Look what's happening to poverty levels. It seems that we may well have a doubling of world poverty by next year. We may well have at least a doubling of child malnutrition because children are not getting meals at school and their parents in poor families are not able to afford it.
Think about that. He just said a doubling of world poverty and a doubling of child malnutrition. For something, John, that we had 70,000 college infections, okay, as of a week and a half ago. How many hospitalizations? What's the ballpark?
It was 0.
It was 3. They got 3. They said 3.
Oh, my goodness.
Out of 70,000.
Disaster. Why isn't there a national emergency? Or is it already? Is it already a national emergency? Did they declare that fully?
I'm not even sure where we're at anymore. You know, they can't even call it a pandemic anymore because there's not enough death. It's being called an epidemic. A lot of these lockdowns are ending. Hey, if you watched, what was it? Czech Congo versus Tim Johnson 2. They had a full fucking crowd. They had a full crowd in France. Let me repeat that. They had a full crowd in France. Where was that headline? Bellator is the second largest MMA organization in the world. They had a televised event.
The French, they always wash their hands, though.
And they're ace.
Ghastly global catastrophe, actually. And so we really do appeal to all world leaders Stop using lockdown as your primary control method. Develop better systems for doing it. Work together and learn from each other. But remember, lockdowns just have one consequence that you must never, ever belittle, and that is making poor people an awful lot poorer.
So that's a guy that works for the World Health Organization. It might be harmful content, guys, and that's why we're going to do the spiel now, because I've been fully demonetized for 6.5 months now.
That was harmful content.
6.5 months, I showed you what YouTube's lords and leaders from the World Health Organization just said about lockdowns. Harmful content. You can support me in the link below. Please thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Join the Burmese
Dude looked a little bit like Nosferatu.
He did. I mean, I don't trust these people. I think they're terrible people. But again, if you're going to have, people go, well, the World Health Organization says and the CDC says, and then you point to their own numbers and what they're actually saying, and then you just go, well, Andrew Cuomo says. And now, I don't know if you've seen this headline yet, John, but Biden is considering Cuomo as his attorney general. You know how scary that would be? That would be pretty frightening. Pretty frightening. You can find both John and I on Rockfin. I'm going to be doing a lot more with Rockfin, and get ready for the real Rockfin revolution. Everything John Fitch is over at johnfitch.net, including the resistance bands, strength training. Tell people about that, because you got the gun show going.
Yep. Oh, gun show all day. At the beginning of the quarantine, everybody's at home, and I have my own Fitch Smash lifting program I do. So I just switched everything out and started using the bands. I got a new set of bands and just started seeing if I could do everything with the bands and how good they'd work. I spent 3 months doing nothing but the bands, and they worked. I got super jacked. I got kind of too big. I had to stop.
Too big from bands? Oh my God.
I had to stop lifting for 2 months training leading up to the Neiman Gracie fight. And then I had to lose a lot of weight. I had to shrink.
Because a lot of people think that, bands are going to be just high rep work. You're going to end up maybe getting lean muscle, but you're not really going to be bulking up. But you're telling me that if you do bands the proper way, you're doing the lower reps with the heavier resistant bands, you can get just as jacked as free weights.
I was solid. I was solid using resistance bands. I maintained a good amount of muscle mass. My lean muscle mass was good. And I had a good body composition for the fight, too.
Yeah, you look jacked as shit, man. TheGruelingTruth.com, that's where you can find the audio version of this podcast after the fact, although I am going to be expanding, and once I get back, I think we're going to have an RSS feed where you're going to be able to find this thing everywhere until they kick it out of there. So, Fitch, before we start fights, I have one more piece of coronavirus outrageous. Oneana law requires masks in private homes. Now, remember, they had to clean up the...
What?
Yes. This is where I moved.
Is this your hometown? Where's this at?
This is where I lived, John. This is why I left. Because I saw it. People were laughing at me.
You're from a small town, all kinds of weird shit happen all the time, like government lockdowns and aliens landed.
You would think that, but no. It's just a small little college town where they tried to lie to you and say college parties had some crazy outbreak. They mentioned SUNY Oneana again in the governor's little phone press conference yesterday. It's all bullshit. When I point out they cooked the numbers, when I point out after all the positives they had 0 hospitalizations, when I point out that they didn't even test the kids before they got here and the New York Times ran with the story, oh, the parties. Guess what? The other college with 2,000 kids is still going. It's still there. They're still in session. They're not beholden to the SUNY program. They are gutting SUNY communities on purpose. So let me tell you what this law reads like. If I have a house, which when I was a kid in college, there 20 plus years ago, I was in a fraternity, my first place. I pledged, second semester sophomore. So freshman, junior, I was ready. I lived with 4 other fucking guys. Yeah. Now forget about just having friends over. Let's say we all were lucky enough to have a chick. That's it. It's fucking 10. We better put on our fucking masks. Illegal.
Yep.
Now, God forbid, we wanted to throw a mixer or a party or have some people over for football and dinner. Now they're saying you have to have a mask on in your house.
Mask in your own house.
In your own house. And if they come over and you don't, it's $1,000 per person max fine. Plus $1,500.
So now they have, this is kind of like now they have the right just to like walk into your house and check you for masks. Is that what they're going to start doing?
They say they're not going to do that specifically in the article.
No knock mask checks.
They would never abuse this, right, John? I mean, come on.
Oh, Jesus, never. That would never happen in America.
And again, I wish I was making this stuff up, guys, but take a look at it. It's real. I was worried about walking on the street. Remember, I was like, they want me to stay 6 feet away. I showed you the please wear a mask metal signs all over my Main Street. And now they're saying not only on Main Street, they're saying in your goddamn home in the city limits. And, they think they're being slick to try to stop college kids that stayed in town, John, from having Halloween parties. Because if they break in and they have 50 people in there, they could literally try to get $50,000 in revenue.
That's the grift. Follow the money. That's what they're doing. They're not overly concerned about. They're drying out of funds because they don't get all that parking ticket money because school's not in session.
Well, they're about to fire half the police.
DUIs.
Oh, it's over there, dude. Things are dropping like flies there. Now that the stimulus has been gone for like 3 months, right? It's been about 3 months since people got that extra money. Now that people are actually getting fired. Yeah. Now that the DMV is officially closed. Now when
the foreclosures start.
That's going to be tough because remember when that happened in 2008, some people made out like bandits, like my friends who squatted in a Long Island home for 4+ years. Just because the owner walked in and said, guys, I'm no longer your landlord. They're taking this from me. And the city didn't turn off the power. So they literally lived there for 4 years until a new landlord walked in and had acquired the property. So the foreclosures, I don't know, man. That's a good question. I guess that depends on when all the Long Island money runs out. That's the real question because all these kids that are staying in town are rich Long Island kids that's parents said, fuck it, we're just going to spend $10,000.
Well, foreclosures started anywhere?
I'm not seeing them yet. I'm not seeing them because, again, the upstate market seems pretty good because there's still a lot of people moving out of New York City and Westchester and Dutchess because they want to get further away and they think that this is the new spot, especially because those that kept their jobs are doing it remotely, even though that's not ending. The remote work thing is only going to be bigger and bigger. I was watching today some CEO, I think, of Upwork and what was the other one that, they're, oh, no, we're going to keep our employees at home. Oh, wonderful. Just fucking wonderful. All right. It's called Mixed Martial Mindset, guys. Let's get to the UFC this weekend. What do you think about the card?
It was entertaining. It was good.
I thought it was over the top. I thought it actually lived up to a fight night more than just hype. I mean, I enjoyed the Rothwell fight. Trying to think what else was really good. Obviously, those 2 head kicks. I'm going to just type in UFC head kicks.
Yeah.
Woo! Did you catch both of them?
Yes. The Buckley masterpiece knockout that he had, and then Sandhagen had a beautiful spinning back kick.
I mean, when I looked at this one here, just the fact that he had caught the other kick and then off balance did that spin kick. And it wasn't even a traditional spin kick. It was kind of a spin up kick where he just caught him under the jaw. I mean, it looked like almost like a spin kick uppercut, especially the way he had his leg bent. I want to see if we can see kind of where it lands. Let's see. You can kind of, I think this is probably after he's kicked him because it's leaning down there.
Yep.
But damn, he got, I mean, that thing, here's another where you can see.
It was just lights out immediately. It was almost like a movie-esque knockout, like the way the guy fell.
And honestly, the wheel kick shouldn't be overshadowed by that because that was a huge wheel kick. Caught him right on the side of the head. Maurice is tough as hell. In fact, Sandhagen took some pretty good shots from Maurice.
It was a good fight, good solid fight leading up to that head kick finish. Because nobody was dominating it. Maurice was doing really good. He was landing some really monster leg kicks, and when they got inside, he was landing some good combos there too.
Yeah. I thought they looked both really crisp until that happened. It was really a sudden moment. It wasn't an overwhelming part of the fight. They were kind of.
He got him to bite down a little bit. He got him looking at something, or I don't know what it was, but he dropped a little bit, and that kick came over the top.
So let's talk about that. Is it true that most of you guys train to throw that head kick about elbow length because you're anticipating the duck, or are you usually aiming for that head?
I just can't get my leg that
high. Really? I don't believe it.
At 5'9", I think gotta be about 5'9" for me kicking in the head.
That's it, huh? 5'9", yeah. That's it.
I got to fake a double to get you to come down.
Does that mean axe kicks are out, John? No axe kicks either?
Maybe a hatchet kick.
Oh, I love the axe kick. When that gets thrown into a fight, I love watching that. Usually it's...
I'm not horrible, but I just don't bend that well that certain ways. Just as a wrestler, I never did that.
Which is surprising because it's not...
Or I just could be how my hips are built.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do have that wide walk, and those big shoulders, I guess. But, I mean, I'd be surprised because it's not like you got caught in a lot of subs in your career. You were usually able to really get out of there and get out of a lot of chokes. What, Berkman's the only one that choked you out, right?
Out?
Well, yeah, I mean, got the tap.
I don't mean... Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he took me out, yeah. Well, no, I mean, my first fight, Mike Pyle.
Okay.
Rear naked choke.
That's old. Man, Mike Pyle, man, that's old school.
2002.
Jesus. Man. Oh, by the way, guys, I do want to say this. One of the great things about Iowa is there's actually going to be live back-to-back shows here with a crowd. That's Friday and Saturday, I think at the River Center or something like that here in Iowa. I'm having the guy who's throwing it on the program tomorrow. We're going to be talking about it. I'm hoping to actually get to go to it on Friday and Saturday, but that's if I get back from New York. I'm definitely going to at least be at the Saturday card. But sports are happening. MMA is happening, and people are going to it, John. It's exciting times. I wish that somebody could go to the Gaethje Khabib fight because that's happening in Fight Island next week.
It's coming up.
And I think the main card is going to be 2 p.m. Eastern. So that means prelims probably, got to be noon or 11 a.m. Eastern? Got to be.
Dang, so it's gonna be early.
It's gonna be early. I'm going to UFC.com.
I'm going to keep that in mind because wasn't the
Poirier
the Paris card was the Paris card for Bellator was that
both
earlier?
Of those cards.
I think that's why I didn't catch that one.
Well, what they're doing is so they're playing the last 2 weeks. I think the deal with DAZN is officially done. Don't quote me on that, guys. I know it's the insider scoop here on Mixed Martial Mindset, but don't quote me on that. But the truth is that they got CBS Sports Network replaying the main card, but you have to have CBS Sports, right? And then BBC 5 or Channel 5, I think it is, overseas is the one that's carrying it live, right, in Europe. So it was really shitty the way they did it actually this week because in the very beginning of the quote-unquote prelims, they showed you Michael Page had won his fight. So Michael Page, they started it with his victory, speech, and then it went to the prelims, right? So then I had to wait, and then like 2 hours later, they showed the main card, and then the last fight on the main card was the Michael Page fight.
You've already seen the fucking thank you speech. Oh my god.
The worst. I mean,
thanks, guys.
They always do it. I don't get it, guys. I'm not that smart. I can run a broadcast and make sure something like that doesn't happen. Who are you fucking paying at CBS or Viacom or wherever? I mean, you guys got great production value. You got a great product. The fights were actually
gotta be like fun. Some kind of like coding or something.
It's whether or not you just hit fucking start on the live stream. Like, forget about encoding. Like, I get it if you're doing it and breaking it up. I don't know, man. I hope Bellator... I hope CBS Sports pushes them if it's not going to be on Paramount.
Broadcast S together. Get it together, guys. Let's go.
I agree. 100% let's get it together. So let's see what the time on this next card is. It is... Okay, so that's 2 weeks ago. We got Ortega versus the Korean Zombie next week. I kind of like that one, too. Who you got on that?
Oh, man. I don't know. Zombie's so tough. I think technically Brian Ortega wins it, but you can't count out the Zombie's heart.
Well, didn't the Zombie look awesome in his last fight? And Ortega's coming off his only loss, isn't he?
He hasn't fought in a while either, has he?
No, it's got to be over a year since unless he got a win.
Yeah, so I mean, he's primed to get picked off.
I agree. He is the number 2 guy, and I want to say Chan Sung Jung looked really good in his last fight. Chikagan looked amazing in her last fight, so the Andrade fight actually looks really good. In fact, 2 weeks ago on that home card we didn't talk about, the Jerain Durandame versus killing me. You saw that fight, right?
I did not see that one.
Oh, dude.
I did not watch Jermaine.
She got a chokehold win. She's a kickboxer.
Yeah.
And, I can't remember who it was. It was the chick that... I shouldn't call her a chick because she'd kill me. It was the girl that got beat up in practice by one of the guys and was, injured for almost 2 years because of it. One of the guys yoked her up bad and injured her, which was ridiculous. Let's see. Crute, Almeida versus Martinez. And this is at 6 p.m. Central Time next week, so that's early. So then this is at 3 p.m. Central Time next week. So this is an early one. But I still want to talk about Khabib Gaethje. You know Khabib. He's probably got a mind as strong as his body. But he lost his dad.
Strong dude. I mean, yeah, he lost his dad. But I think, he didn't fight with his dad always there. He didn't have his dad always at every training camp, So, I think he's going to adjust and he's going to be okay. And he's had a lot of time. It's not a fresh wound. He's had chances to say his goodbyes and talk to people, and I'm sure he wants to win and do an impressive job as tribute. I'm sure he's using that as motivation. So I think he's going to be ready. Javier flew out to him to train with him and his guys. So, I think he's going to be ready. I wouldn't see why not. I haven't got a chance to see him up close or what he's doing. Just seeing him on social media and whatever Hobbs posting.
I mean, listen, I'm a huge Khabib guy. There's always the chance of getting dusted. I mean, you look at Poirier, he got a couple of moments in there where he might have clipped him. Gaethje's got incredible power. He looks a lot better and a lot
left
more.
A little bit. He scrambles hard. No, I would think that this is probably his toughest test.
I think so too. I
think Gaethje's the best guy that Khabib's faced.
I agree. I 100% agree. I think that especially where Gaethje is now in his career. You know what I'm saying? He's got the momentum. He's already made a couple mistakes in the UFC. He's rectified those mistakes. He's looked incredible in his last couple fights. Couldn't be a bigger main event. Cannonier versus Robert Whittaker. I love this fight as well.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good one.
What do you think?
I am pro this fight. I don't know. Whittaker's been a little bit shinny. And Cannonier hits like a truck. So that's not a good equation to have.
And Cannonier's got incredible momentum right now.
Yep, momentum is a hell of a drug. Yeah. So Whittaker's the guy to probably should win, but Cannonier has everything in his court to carry through and get the W.
And I haven't been keeping up on the salaries as much. I should, but I think that's a big thing. You look at Whittaker; he's gotten.
Well, they've been trying to cover him up, like the Nevada Commission is no longer going to share salaries.
Is that right?
Share the purses. I think that's something they made a decision about recently.
Dude, that's ridiculous. Because again, Whittaker was in that 6-figure range, and that was what was public without the bonuses, and he had the belt, so there were pay-per-view points and things like that.
Yep.
You wonder. I mean, does money change fighters? You've been around some of the biggest and best. Does it sometimes they finally hit that peak They've made a couple $1 million, and then maybe they don't train as hard for that first or second title defense.
I think for one, you get better training partner, better facilities, because you can afford more stuff. For a lot of guys who are making more money, they get better training. That's one of the reasons why the top guys get to stay top guys for a little bit longer. You also have the luxury of taking time off if you get injured or don't feel good, because you have money. Like, you can survive. You don't have to take as many bad fights. I think the biggest deterrent for a lot of fighters isn't the money. They don't get bored of the sport, or they get lazy because they get money. It's like they just get tired of the BS. Because it's really like, as MMA fighters, we don't have the agency that like a boxer does or other free agents have. So like, if you're in the game long enough to make big money, chances are you're going to get pretty damn frustrated dealing with the business. And if you're not making 6 figures to $1 million per fight, like, after a while, it probably doesn't seem to make too much more sense to like go what you're going through.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, you look at, but then again, you see some of these guys, man. They just do not want to retire, and I wonder.
Well, because they know, because like for a certain group of guys, as long as they have a certain name, no matter what their win-loss record is, they're going to be able to make $5-10 grand on a weekend. They don't have to train much for it or cut weight or whatever, but they know they can jump in, maybe more. Maybe they can jump in and make 25 grand. That's a pretty good weekend if you don't really have much else going on.
Well, look at somebody like Roy Nelson, and I love Roy to death, but he hasn't had a win in forever. His name is still huge, and it seems like no matter what you do and you put him in there, I don't see him making less than 60 grand. And honestly, they let you have sponsors. It's got to be a 6-figure payday, right?
Yeah, and think about that. He fights probably twice, maybe 3 times a year, because Roy's actually pretty active. He's making 6 figures a year, So like, what's the?
How do you argue with that?
How do you argue with that? If he lives in Vegas, so like, no state income tax. You can live pretty meagerly there, have a house. Gas
like
pretty cheap.
Income tax. That's very nice.
You got to think of this in business terms.
What do you got on Volkov versus Harris? I think that's a pretty exciting heavyweight fight. I think Volkov's shown, some signs of greatness, but hasn't looked awesome in his last few fights. And Walt Harris, he starts to put it together, but then he gets chin-lined in the heavyweight division, which happens, right? I mean, again, the guys like Overeem can still knock you out. If you're in the heavyweight division, I mean, look at even Tim Johnson. Tim Johnson was a guy that wasn't putting people away, and he started putting people away. He didn't put Czech away this weekend, but he beat him. He's shown improvement. So what do you think? You got Volkov, you got Harris.
There's some other big heavyweights that fought last night or on Saturday night too.
We had Rothwell versus Rothwell versus Talavia.
No, there's some other guys in the preliminary card, I think.
You're right. There was that one dude that knocked the guy out in like
the Philly cop, I think.
Yeah,
one guy's a Philly cop.
Yeah. There was a lot of good fights, man. I'll give the UFC this weekend for not a lot of names. Those fights were pretty boss, and even Condit versus McGee was a fun fight. Condit clear off. Sent Court McGee's nose on the other side of his face.
I saw some pictures. It did not look. Not look like it was all right.
It was literally on the bell of the first round. Planted him. Had he had 10, 15 more seconds, I think that the way that McGee was stunned and didn't look clear-headed when he got up, he would have had the finish. McGee's tough as nails. He stood in there in the second round. His nose on the other side of his face. I think that between the second and the third, they must have straightened it out because it looked a lot better in the third round. But Condit,
we got hit on the other side.
I don't know. I was wondering where it happened Because when I'm first watching that beginning of that second round, I'm like, Jesus Christ. The only time I've ever seen someone's nose on the other side of their face, the guy wasn't moving afterwards. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just.
Yeah, that's wild, man.
He didn't just get up and be like, okay, ready to go. He was over. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So, I saw some pictures. I didn't realize that it was that early in the fight. I thought it was like third round or something.
No, end of the first. Let me see if we can find it. End of first.
That's nuts.
Condit versus McGee, because you can see it clearly when he gets up. Let's see in the images. Yeah. Like,
that's just awful. Oh.
Yes. And it was let's see, this has got to be it. Right here. I don't want to get the copyright strike, but we're going to show it.
Yes, I just turn off the sound.
Yeah.
Make it small enough.
Big shot, second round.
Oh! He got right up. I mean, I'll give him that. I mean, you can see he's wobbling.
Yeah, his brain was fine. His nose took all of the impact. He's like a IndyCar. Like
I can't believe that.
His nose just folded.
Dude, when you look at
those
that
folded
thing,
so that the impact didn't affect his noggin. And he's like, "Oh, I'm cool. It's all right."
Well, when Condit does it, he smiles back at him. Let's see if we can see it right here after they replay it again. Condit looks at him afterwards and just smiles at him. Let's see. Oh, this is the last minute. I don't want to see the last minute. What's going on here? They are trying to get me a copyright strike. Here it is. Or is this the last? What is going on? Who posted this? They posted the last minute of the fight and not the last minute of that afterwards. So weird. I mean, Condit looked good. He hasn't looked great in his fights recently, but he's bounced around a lot.
Yeah, he's what, 2015 last win, something like that.
Let's look it up. I don't know. It's been a while. Carlos Condit. Let's get the record up there. Ooh, you know what? Dan Hardy's calling him out. Said he wants the rematch. I'd like to watch that one. He had gotten one, you're right, in 2015, but look at that record, man. That's crazy. So in his last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fights, he's 3-8. And the UFC didn't cut him after, I mean, to be honest, look at who he lost to. He lost to Thiago Alves, Robbie Lawler, Damian Maia, Neil Magny, Alex Oliveira, Michael Casella. All I'm saying is, after you take 2 in a row, don't you maybe fight somebody outside the top 15?
Yeah, they piled it on Carlos.
It just, to me, I get it. He's a name. You can put him up there.
I wonder if he made him mad on a contract.
But I'm the conspiracy guy, eh, John? Me? I'm the guy?
Like, why would we do that? I don't know, man.
Ooh, there we go. That's another good one. Stefan Struve versus Tai Tuivasa. I like that.
Tuivasa. That'd be fun.
I think that is a fun fight. It's weird that there's only 2 fights on the prelims. Why are the early maybe it's because of the way the card is? So you're telling me, wait a minute. There's only 1, 2, 3 fights on early prelims and prelims for this. And then the main card itself has how many fights? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 9 fight card, UFC? 9 fights? You can't give me 10? I don't get a baker's dozen? You want $70 fucking for this? I mean, it's a good card, but, give me the scraps.
9 fights.
9 fights. Oh.
Islam is fighting also Islam.
Yes, I see that.
RDS.
And that's a good fight too.
RDA, I'm sorry. It is. Islam's really good, really tough. Good jiu-jitsu off his back, great top control, just, very similar to Khabib, not quite as strong as Khabib, but more slick. Mm-hmm. Good stand-up. So it will be a great test to see where he's going to be if he can beat Dos Anjos, he'll be fighting, bigger names at that weight. And then, could be maybe getting closer to either retiring or moving up to welterweight.
I mean, I like this fight because Rafael Dos Anjos, I don't think he's much better or worse than he was 5 years ago. He's remained pretty consistent from when he had that championship run, where I wouldn't call him a gatekeeper, but on any given Sunday, I think that he can dismantle a guy between 5 and 15. You start getting into the top 5 guys with Dos Anjos nowadays, a little bit tougher. He lost the belt to Alvarez. What's his record lately? He's gone back and forth a little bit, hasn't he?
As long as he's got that mustache, I think he's gonna be all right.
You like that? No shave November, John? You going for it? I am not. I already
don't know. I mean, I don't know if I want to shave the beard. I don't know what's going on.
Before I got here and
I haven't
shaved,
decided if I want to shave it or just grow it real long, grow the top out real long, because I don't need to keep it, shorter out of my eyes. Should I grow like a man bun?
Don't you goddamn dare! Don't you goddamn dare! Do you remember?
I still got hair. I should get the most out of it, right? Shouldn't I get like some Fabio hair?
That's fine. I'm fine
man
with
bun
that.
it.
Go as long and flowing locks as you want. Get dreads and join a metal band.
Yeah.
Just don't man bun. Do you remember when they were selling those fake man buns? Remember those where you could buy a man bun to put on top of your hair to act like you had one? Can you imagine being the type of asshole that bought and wore one of those? Forget about it. Forget about it.
All right, man bun, here I come.
So, what do we got? Since the loss to Alvarez and losing the title, he lost to Tony Ferguson. He then went on a pretty decent run against Safadine, Magny, and then Lawler. All right, and that's through 2017. His losses to Covington and Usman were both decisions, and it's tough to tell me those are shitty losses because that's the 1 and 2 guy, in the division. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see that rematch, especially the way Covington just looked. Covington just looked awesome again. He's a legit dude. He's stuck around. Usman's legit. He then beats Kevin Lee in a submission, finishes him. And they've tried their hardest to hype him up. And then he loses 2 decisions to Kaseya and Edwards. Again, those perennial 5 to 15ers. I think Leon Edwards is probably a little bit better. He might be within the top 5 for sure. But that's his last fight. So Edwards hasn't fought in almost a year and a half now. Fucking 15 months because of all this nonsense. You know what I mean? In fact, I want to say that fight was the one where backstage Jorge Masvidal jacked him in the face afterwards.
Slapped him?
Yeah. Yeah, he bapped him in the face. That's a fight I'd still want to see. Leon
Dare you
Edwards.
talk while I'm doing interviews.
You get a lot of that. Let me ask you. You've been behind the scenes in the locker room. Have you seen
Not
a lot
too
of
much. It's very rare. But I feel like it's more prevalent nowadays.
Really?
It's more of a at least in the UFC, it seems like it's more of a WWE environment. There's a lot more trash talking than I remember. A lot more, beefs, so to speak.
A lot of beefs. I mean, I don't know, man. I've been seeing some Conor McGregor chatter out there. He's doing another charity event, John, because he loves the kids and he loves the people, and he's such a good person. And I'm seeing
I may be doing a couple charity events coming up here. 1 November, I think, in Seattle. I think I'm going to be doing something.
What are you doing it for?
It's my friend, my trainer holds this for me, Gary. He's got a buddy, and the guy's also friends with Nate Corey.
Okay.
And it's for the guy's kiddo.
It's for Corey's kid?
No, it's for the Nate Corey's buddy.
Okay.
But I gotta get more. Yeah, I gotta get all the details and everything figured out. But I'm gonna do like a 2-hour no-gi. I think that's what I'm doing is 2-hour no-gi seminar. So
I was hoping to hear.
Probably do a lot of wrestling type stuff.
I mean, obviously there's a difference between gi and no gi. Do you think a lot of like gi and sambo fighters translate well into MMA? We've seen, some of those guys like Blagoy get in there and do well. Or do you think that there is too much reliance on being able to grab the person's, clothes?
No, I think that's why so many of these Russian guys are doing so well from that area over there, is because of the combat sambo. They're basically doing MMA, but they have a gi top, shin pads, headgear, and they're fighting in a open mat space instead of a cage. But like transitions really smoothly into MMA afterwards. So they're already doing it. I think there's little adjustments they have to make. I think they throw headbutts still.
Really?
I think so. I think I've seen some video of them headbutting with the headgear on.
Yikes.
But fundamentally, these guys, they rely a little bit more on the judo trips and stuff, but the wrestling takedowns are really good, and their defense is even better. So they have I think because of that, and I've said this for a long time, that's why they were going to take over, and now they've taken over, is because they have this amateur system that's just a much better preparatory type system to get fighters trained in the idea of kicking, punching, taking people down, throwing them down, submitting them, all combined together as one, rather than doing one discipline most of your life and then starting the other ones when you're in your 20s and trying to figure it all out.
Oh, Fitch, I think this is about it for me, because I'm about to do a 2-hour broadcast with the Union of the Unwanted, and then we're going to post little clips of that throughout the evening. What do you want to end the evening on here? What John Fitch advice can you give to the rest of the audience out there during the COVID-1984 madness that we're going through?
Biggest thing is there's so much going on that you can't control right now. The one thing you can't control is your health. So watch what you're eating. Okay, eat a good diet, get on a good meal plan, and exercise. And one of the best things you can do for exercise that's good for your health is resistance training. It's more important than cardio. I said it. It's a bro science. It's more important for you to lift up heavy things or do resistance training than it is for you to do Stairmaster for an hour.
From the horse's mouth, John Fitch himself, the smashiest of smashers. So you can check out the Resistant Band Strength training by going to johnfitch.net. Among other things, he's got the Weight Cut Bible. When's the next book coming out? That's the next big question.
I think that's one of the projects I gotta start putting time aside to start writing.
TheGruelingTruth.com is where you can find the audio version of this. John and I are both on Rockfin.com, Rockfin.com. That's where we're at.
Rockfin is awesome.
It is awesome.
I've been putting up, if you've been checking out I've been putting up my Fight Week videos. I got one more to put up. I got one more to edit and put up. Fight Day.
And there is the Fitch's channel right here. Lots of premium stuff, but don't worry, there's some freebies in there. Cauliflower and Cocktail Hour should be making a comeback now that you're not training anymore, eh?
Pretty soon. I think Toots is going to be back in town, I think, this week. So we're going to be doing a Boomer and Toots on, I think, Thursday.
Oh, exciting.
In studio, I believe.
And in studio, Boomer and Toots. And if for you beginner fighters, you can get 5 tips from John Fitch free right now by signing up over at Rockfin.com. Thumbs this video up, subscribe, and share. If you want to hit my GoFundMe, that's how I do this several times a day. We're going to be expanding. Like I said, we will be back later tonight and tomorrow. Caged Aggression, 2 events, Friday and Saturday night. You can get them on pay-per-view. I think they're $25 a night, but you can actually go to MMA, John. You can watch people punch each other in the face, go for arm bars and chokeholds. I'm super excited about it. We'll be talking about it tomorrow. Guys, we'll be back next week. Thanks for joining us.
Laters. Check the laters.
Later, brother.
Cheer. Bless you.